to try and to make sense of how to prevent what seems to be rampant food poisoning in our schools. Let's talk now to the General Secretary of the National Association of School Governing Bodies, Matakanye Matakanya, to look at some of the solutions being mooted to this emerging crisis. Matakanya, good morning to you. Again, here is another family that is mourning. There's a massive loss and a vacuum in their homes. Hope and Awami, the Qaba children, are now no more. We'll wait to hear what the post-mortem results say about what led to their deaths. But the issue of the management of what children are consuming, either on school premises or outside school premises has come into focus again. What's your perspective this morning as the National Association of School Governing Bodies?
Iman, good morning, and morning as well to your viewers. Our deepest heartfelt condolences once more to the families, to the community, to the society, to South Africa as a whole, that this thing does not really want to go away. Iman, you'll know that last year we were also crying like we are crying now, but this person that is doing this, we are not told who is this. So we want to call upon the government to really put everything in order and pull up its success. It cannot be business as usual when we lose children like this. Look, we have State Department, we have got Department of Agriculture, we have got Department of Trade and Industry, we have got Department of Health. We also have a government, local government, that must really look after us. So we are just on our own. As Steve Biko once said, a black man, you are on your own. We are on our own now.
Yeah.
We have the government. The government must tell us exactly who is behind this thing. Now, and I don't think this thing is happening in schools. It's happening outside schools, so it's bigger than schools. We can try to say schools must do 1, 2, 3, and all those, but this thing is bigger than schools. It needs government. And I've stated, State Department that must give us answers, not tomorrow, not next week, but now.
Matakanya,
What's
I want
happening
to go
in the country?
as you say, this is a responsibility that it seems, based on what I'm hearing, a responsibility has been abdicated by all of these different departments. When you say that you have done everything, that national or that school governing bodies have done whatever they've been asked to do, we see some guidelines to protect learners from food poisoning. We see the Department of Health, the Department of Education in KZN has now given some guidelines around the registration of vendors, giving them space to do business inside schools, to ensure that they are also vetted in terms of whether or not they're on the sex offenders register, and a range of different things. Would you say, as school governing bodies, you have done everything that you were required to do?
We have been doing this all this time. That all the vendors that come into the school must be known, must be registered, and they must be shown even the regulation, the policy. How do we want them to work in the school with us? And if not, if they don't do that, and what type of food they must sell, nutritional food, we can't sell different from what government is doing in our schools. This government is giving us nutritional food, but we can't deviate from there. Government, when it gives us nutritional food, we must also tell our vendors to sell nutritional food, not anything different from nutritional food and also. So we have been doing all this. We have got policies in our schools to regulate the vendors in our schools. So it is very funny that the department is now writing a memo to say no, regulate this, or they're just waking up to smell the coffee. We have been doing all these things. Now we are saying this thing is bigger than the Department of Education. This thing is bigger than schools. That's why we are calling upon the government to seriously intervene and give us a report, because this food that our children are eating, some of them do die, but what happens with those who did not die with the poison in their body? What is really going to happen with that poison in their body? Are they going to have children if they are girls? Are they going to have children if they are boys in the future? And we blame them and blame their parents, blame everybody. These are questions that the government must give us to say our children who survived this poison, they are okay. In future, there will not be something else. We need those, and those things will not come from schools. Those answers will not come from the schools. Those questions, those answers, we are expecting them to come from the Department of Health, Department of Trade and Industry, Department of Agriculture, local government in particular must tell us that they have bylaws. Are they sleeping on their bylaws or what? These are all the answers that we need from our own government.
So if the answers are not forthcoming, you've said it's very funny that they haven't acted as they should. This is bigger than the DOE, bigger than schools. You're waiting for a report. All of this is up in the air. It's very hard, it would seem, Matakanye, to pin anyone down. And every day, children are dying. In fact, as I shared with you the story of Hope and Awami and the conversation our reporter had with the mother who's grieving this morning, another child in Alex, again, another example. And the numbers are rising and more children are vulnerable as this distance and this gap in the middle continues to perpetuate. Is there an opportunity to have, I don't know, an urgent meeting? And as you say, if this is all happening outside the school gate, should there be a standardized, should there be like a standard that's applied to all spaza shops? Anyone that wants to operate, sell anything to anyone in the community has to meet a certain standard similar to an SABS rating.
That is the role that must be played by the local government. That is the role that must be played by the Department of Agriculture, Department of Trade and Industry, Department of Health. They must ensure that the citizen unfortunately, these things is targeted to our children. But if they don't bring answers, Iman, I think I have just to stand up and approach Judicial Commission. I think now it's time that we have to have Judicial Commission to investigate this thing, what is happening, because the local government is failing us. We are failed by our own government. Then with Judicial Commission, I am just stand up and approach Judicial Commission, and I don't know how, Iman, you must just help me how to go about this Judicial Commission, so that we must commission these things. We can't just leave it. We have to commission these things. So, and we are saying also, parents, stand up, tell your children not to buy where they don't get the receipts. We want to hold these people accountable. Once the child eats this poison, then that trader must pay for the child to be poisoned, whether die or not, but for the child to die. Then the trader must be held accountable. We can only hold them accountable if we have some receipts to say, now here's a receipt, my child bought food from you. Then what are you doing? These are the two rules that I think we are going to take if the government does not really respond to this thing. Because we are expecting, we have a government. We can't be seen doing anything outside the government. We have the government. We are saying, government, stand up. And if the government does not stand up, then I just have to stand up and approach Judicial Commission to look into the matter. But at the same time, parents, stand up. Tell your children to buy where they get receipts so that we can hold these people accountable.
I mean, it sounds, Matakanye, like you're feeling desperate this morning, and it sounds like this idea or this option is occurring to you in this moment. Is that true?
Come again?
It sounds like you're desperate for a solution, and it sounds like going to the, or getting, the judiciary involved is an idea that's occurring to you right now in this moment. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, let's
Yes.
see again how we can follow this up and whether that might be the right route. As you say, the situation is urgent and government has been found wanting, and you've named some departments in local government as well. Matakanye, we will come back to this and keep an eye on this story as well. And that is the General Secretary of the National Association of School Governing Bodies.